The smell of smoke woke Emily Carter before the fire alarm did. For one terrifying second, she thought she was dreaming. Then she heard her 6-year-old son, Ben, coughing from the next room. She jumped out of bed, threw open his bedroom door, and scooped him into her arms. Thick black smoke had already begun filling the hallway. Flames licked the kitchen ceiling, spreading faster than she could understand. Barefoot and terrified, Emily wrapped a blanket around Ben, grabbed only her phone from the nightstand, and rushed down the emergency stairs with dozens of frightened neighbors. Minutes later, they stood outside in the freezing night, watching firefighters battle the blaze that was swallowing everything she owned. Ben buried his face against her shoulder. "Mom, are our toys okay?" Emily couldn't answer. She simply held him tighter. The apartment where they had built a life after her divorce disappeared behind walls of smoke and fire. Everything was gone. Her clothes. Their family photographs. Ben's birthday gifts. The small savings she kept hidden in a kitchen drawer. All of it. After the firefighters confirmed no one could return inside, Emily sat on the curb, wrapped in a borrowed blanket, shivering as dawn slowly approached. She unlocked her phone and stared at the one contact she never imagined needing again. Mom. Her parents lived less than 30 minutes away in a large house with 3 empty bedrooms. Her hands trembled as she pressed the call button. Her mother answered after several rings. "Emily." Mom sounded irritated. "It's 5 in the morning." Emily fought back tears. "My apartment burned down." Silence. Then she whispered. "Ben and I have nowhere to go." For a moment, she thought her mother would say, "Come home." Instead, she heard a cold sigh. "That's not our problem." Emily froze. "What?" "You made your choices." Tears rolled silently down her face. "Mom, we lost everything. You should have planned better." Emily couldn't believe what she was hearing. "I just need somewhere for Ben to sleep." Her mother's voice became even colder. "We're not running a shelter." Then came the words Emily would never forget. "You wanted independence." Another pause. "So be independent." The line went dead. Emily stared at her phone in complete disbelief. Ben looked up at her with sleepy eyes. Grandma said yes. Emily forced a smile that almost broke her heart. "Not this time, sweetheart." He nodded quietly. "That's okay." She hugged him so tightly he squeaked. Around them, firefighters continued working. The morning air felt colder than ever. Emily looked at the smoking ruins of her apartment and realized she had no home, no family to turn to, and nowhere to go. Just then, one of the firefighters walked toward her with a gentle expression. "Ma'am," he said softly. "Someone across the street has been asking about you." Emily looked up, confused. Across the road stood an elderly man she'd seen only a handful of times. He was their quiet neighbor from the building next door. He raised a hand and smiled kindly. Then he said 6 simple words that would change everything. "You and your son, come home." The elderly man introduced himself as Mr. Thomas. Emily had seen him watering flowers outside his apartment building dozens of times, but they had never spoken beyond a polite wave. Now he stood there holding 2 steaming cups of hot chocolate. One for her. One for Ben. "You both look frozen," he said gently. Emily hesitated. I don't want to be a burden." Mr. Thomas smiled. "My wife always said a home feels biggest when it's shared." His voice softened. "She passed away 3 years ago." Emily looked at the wedding ring he still wore. "I'm sorry." "So am I." He glanced at Ben. "But she'd never forgive me if I left a mother and child out here." Emily's eyes filled with tears. For the second time that morning, someone had offered her a choice. The first had closed a door. The second had opened one. She quietly whispered. "Thank you." Mr. Thomas's apartment was simple but warm. He found pajamas that had belonged to his visiting grandson, made scrambled eggs, and insisted Ben take the bedroom while he slept on the couch. That evening, as Ben drifted to sleep, he looked at Emily and asked, "Mom?" "Yes." "Why did Grandpa Thomas help us when Grandma didn't?" Emily gently tucked the blanket around him. "Because kindness isn't something you're born into." She kissed his forehead. "It's something you choose." The next morning, news of the apartment fire spread through the neighborhood. People Emily barely knew began knocking on Mr. Thomas's door. One woman brought bags of children's clothes. Another family donated blankets. A local bakery delivered fresh bread. Someone left grocery store gift cards in the mailbox without signing their name. Within 2 days, strangers had given more than some relatives ever had. Then something unexpected happened. Emily received another phone call. It was her mother. Without even saying hello, she asked, "I heard people are raising money for you." Emily remained silent. Her mother continued, "If you're getting insurance and donations, then I assume you're fine." Emily looked around the small apartment. Mr. Thomas was helping Ben build a toy airplane from cardboard boxes. For the first time in years, the silence on her end didn't feel painful. It felt peaceful. "We're okay," Emily replied calmly. Her mother sounded almost offended. "So, you don't need us?" Emily thought carefully before answering. "I needed you yesterday." Silence. "But yesterday you said it wasn't your problem." Her mother didn't respond. Emily quietly added, "Today, kind strangers made it theirs." She ended the call. A month later, Emily found a new apartment. It was smaller than the old one, but it was bright, safe, and only a few blocks from Ben's school. The community helped furnish it. Mr. Thomas insisted on carrying the heaviest boxes, even though everyone told him to rest. When everything was finally in place, Ben taped a handwritten sign to the refrigerator. It read, "Home isn't where you live. It's where you're loved." Mr. Thomas smiled as he read it. "I think your mom has raised a very smart young man." Ben shook his head. "No." He pointed at Mr. Thomas. "You helped." Months later, Emily's parents unexpectedly showed up at her new apartment. They stood awkwardly at the door holding a gift basket. Her mother spoke first. "We wanted to see how you're doing." Emily invited them inside politely. They noticed family photos on the walls. A bookshelf filled with donated books. And one framed picture that caught their attention. It showed Ben standing beside Mr. Thomas, both laughing while planting flowers. Her father quietly asked, "Who's that?" Ben answered before Emily could. "That's Grandpa Thomas." The room fell silent. Emily's mother's expression changed. She understood immediately. Not every grandfather shares your last name. Some earn the title through love. As they prepared to leave, Emily walked them to the door. Her mother hesitated. "I suppose, we made a mistake." Emily nodded gently. "I think you did." There was no anger in her voice. Only honesty. After they left, Ben slipped his hand into hers. "Mom." "Yes." Families can grow, can't they? Emily looked across the courtyard, where Mr. Thomas was waving from his balcony. She smiled. "Yes, sweetheart. They can. Sometimes the people who give you life aren't the ones who stand beside you when life falls apart. And sometimes the people who owe you nothing become the ones who give you everything. Because family isn't defined by blood alone. It's defined by the people who open their door when the rest of the world closes theirs."